Everyone, come on in to my Married at First Sight season 15 episode 16 review recap commentary. And everybody thought this was going to be a filler episode, but I think it was a real episode, y'all. So I had a lot to talk about, and I am doing videos on all the couples. And so at the end of this video, you'll see a link above my head and you can click on the other couples. But I'm talking about it all because there was some stuff worth talking about. And I'm also giving you my predictions on what's going to happen to these couples on decision day and thereafter, because as we know, decision day ain't the end anymore for Married at First Sight, because you got a lot of people who say yes on decision day, and then they end up breaking up the next day. They just say yes or for a week to come on the whatever the recap show or whatever the app, Where Are They Now, and then they break up. So we learned that trick. So I'm giving not only a prediction for decision day, I'm giving predictions for thereafter. So be sure to check out my other videos. Before we get all the way started though, welcome. Thank you for joining me. And please, everyone, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video, because I want to hear your predictions as well on Kristen and Mitch and all the other couples. But I'm going to tell you right now what my prediction is on Kristen and Mitch, and I'm going to tell you why I think that they're both going to say yes on decision day. I think that there is enough there at this point for them to give it a little bit more time after decision day. Mitch asked for some additional time in this relationship. I think Kristen, for the most part, wants it as well. I think she pretty much consented to giving it. So I think they're going to say yes on decision day, but I think thereafter it's not going to work out. And you might be surprised on why it's not going to work out. Some of you think it's not going to work out because so-called Mitch isn't attracted to Kristen. I don't believe that's the problem, because I actually think that Mitch likes Kristen a lot. I think that Mitch is in love with Kristen, but I think part of the problem is Mitch is going to realize that he has to give up too much of himself to be with Kristen. Too much of himself to be with Kristen. What this marriage has turned into is that Mitch can't ask for anything of Kristen, because one of the problems that Kristen suffers from is low self-esteem. And like I said, I know she wants to blame it all on the fact that initially Mitch told her that he wasn't attracted. She wasn't attractive, but that's not the case. She's been low self-esteem. And what we're seeing now, the more Mitch talks, is that anything that Mitch says or done, Kristen automatically takes it in the context that he isn't attracted to her. He could put his left shoe on his right foot and she would say, what does that mean? You don't think I'm attractive? When he don't wear a ring, what does that mean? You don't want to be with me? She looks at every sign that Mitch does as a statement about her. So as a result, Mitch can't do anything but exactly what she wants to do. This is why she had so much fun at that retreat, because she got to do whatever she wanted to do, talk about whatever she wanted to talk about, make all the jokes she wanted to talk about. And all Mitch did was be her fan club and back her up. The minute Mitch has a different thought than her, she gets insecure in the relationship and she looks at it as rejection. And what's going to happen to Mitch is he's going to realize, I've got to give up too much of my life, because it started happening in this episode where Mitch says things, and I don't know where Kristen goes. Kristen runs down the block with these statements, and I'm thinking, by gosh, I didn't hear that from Mitch. But when Mitch says one little thing, Kristen's way down the block and makes it completely a different other thing. I tell you, it started off this episode with Mitch. I guess he was babysitting his nieces. Those nieces are cute. And he had him in the camera and everything. They had a good time. I'm glad they gave him a little cameo, a little camera spot on the TV show. but he obviously loves and cares for those nieces. And it was cute to see that little shot. I thought those kids were cute. But you also see after that, Kristen is deciding that she's going to orchestrate another activity with her and Mitch. Kristen orchestrates everything. If you think about it, when was the last time that Mitch got to do something he wanted to do, y'all? Tell me. Kristen orchestrates all the activities, even when they were on that treat, the bow and arrow, let's do this, let's do that. She's always the one that comes with the ideas, and Mitch has to go along with it. And a lot of times when he has ideas, I don't think he comes up with that many, because he even talks about in this episode that in the last 8 weeks, he's only been surfing 3 or 4 times. I mean, Alexis has been to the club more often than Mitch has gone surfing. So I don't believe that Mitch, and what Mitch is talking about is that, hey, I love being married, but I also miss some things about my life. And instead of Kristen trying to understand what is it that Mitch is talking about, she automatically takes it as he's trying to run away from me. That's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying. He doesn't want to be with you. He's also saying he also enjoys things about his life. Listen, sometimes I like to sleep in the bed by myself and not with my husband, because my husband is tall. He kicks me with his legs. I love it sometimes when I got the bed to myself. If he goes away for the weekend, or if I go away and somewhere, I'm like, oh, yeah, so what? I might miss my husband, but I sure like sleeping in the bed with myself, because I can stretch out. But guess what? You couldn't tell that to Kristen. Mitch couldn't tell Kristen, sometimes I like sleeping in the bed by myself, because she would take it as rejection of her. It can never just be about something about yourself. Like me, I just want to be able to stretch out in the bed. I couldn't be if my husband felt that if I want to go to the guest room and sleep in the bed because I want to stretch out, he's so sensitive. Oh, you don't want to be with me? You don't want to sleep in the bed with me? Oh my gosh. Can't I just sometimes want something for myself without it being a rejection of you? They on here doing these face masks. She's putting the face mask on him, and then he gets ready to put the face mask on her, and he starts talking about, let me put it close to your eyes, because I know you don't want those wrinkles on your eyes. I said, oh, good Lord. A good Lord, Mitch. And for a minute, you could see Kristen tense up a little bit. Even that small little thing, she took it as critical, something about her. She didn't really get into it, but I'm telling you, I saw her body tense up when he said the comment. And all he was saying was exactly what she said to him when she was putting on his face. He said the exact same thing to her. But because she's so sensitive, when he said the same thing about her keeping her face nice and tight, I could see Kristen tense up, like that comment stung her. And even when, they're putting these masks on and everything, and Kristen says, well, it would be kind of weird or something if we had some sexy time with these masks on. And you know what? It reminded Mitch of when she got mad at him last time because he was making too much fun in the bedroom and making the bedroom fun. So Mitch taught me something. He said, that's called body. And I was like, body? I know body from body, yada, 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 yada. But Mitch was schooling me, and I had to look it up, y'all. And he was correct that it's called body when you intermingle humor and sex. So all of a sudden now, when Mitch got in trouble for interjecting humor with sex, here Kristen is talking about, would it be weird to have a sexy time with these face masks on, which would be somewhat funny and humorous as well. But see, when Kristen brings it up, it's no problem. But if Mitch were to say the same thing, then she would turn it around and be like, what, you can't make love to me when seeing my real face? You need to make love to me when I have a mask on so you can't see my face? She would turn it around to be some whole rejection thing. This is why their marriage won't last in the long term, because Kristen really is too insecure to be with Mitch, and Mitch is not going to want to give up that much of his life to be with Kristen. In the end, they're going to end up breaking up, y'all. And Mitch is talking about, he's saying, as much as he cares for Kristen, and I think he does love Kristen, he doesn't know if it's for a lifetime, because what he's saying is, I don't know if I could be this Mitch for a lifetime. That's what he's saying. The Mitch that Kristen is tolerating and liking right now is not the real Mitch. And I can't keep this going for a lifetime. Even when he said, well, what do you think our life will look like after marriage? What Mitch was trying to say was, how much more of my life could we integrate into our marriage? Because he said, I haven't been surfing but 3 times over 8 weeks. I haven't ridden my bike. These are things I like to do. Will I have to give up these things? And all Kristen heard when Mitch said, what would our life look like? and that maybe after decision day, we could take a few days and I could go back to my place. All she heard was, you don't want to be with me. That's all she heard. Oh, well, I don't want to be in a marriage with no gray areas. I don't want to be no half in, half in. That's not what he said. And what I believe Mitch was saying was, Mitch lives a mile from the beach. And this apartment that they're living in, he told us long ago, is way far from the beach. So being able to go surfing is a lot of work because he's got to put that surfboard in the car and he's got to drive a long way to the beach. And he says he misses being able to go surfing more often, every day, every other day, and only being a mile. He's saying, I think we're going to need to get a place. And this is what he said, that one works for both of us. Because wherever Krysten lives, he's saying that doesn't work for him. It's too far from the beach. And he wants to be able to surf. But instead of Krysten asking questions about what is it that makes you more comfortable, she automatically leaps to, oh, you don't want to be with me? I don't want to be with a man that doesn't want to be with me. She goes straight to her insecurities. This is his hypersensitivity that would drive me crazy. She keeps saying that the reason she craves all this validation is because Mitch rejected her in the beginning or said that thing. That's not true. She putting all this on the back of Mitch. One thing Krystens going to learn when this marriage does break up is that her insecurities were not started by Mitch. She's got them all by herself. Even when she says, oh, I need a grand gesture, y'all. I told you, all this public praise and attention Krysten needs, it's overwhelming. She says, I need a declaration and a grand gesture by Mitch for me to be secure enough for me to say yes to him. She needs so much validation and it's continuous. It's in everything you do. So at one point in time, you'll never be able to think about what you want for yourself. You'll always have to be thinking about, if I want something for myself, will it make Krysten feel insecure? And then what will happen is you'll slowly start losing yourself. And I believe that Mitch has started to lose himself in this relationship with Krysten because he's so afraid of triggering her that now he isn't asking for anything. When is the last time Mitch has asked of anything from Krysten at all? Anything. One thing I thought about that brother of Mitch, I thought that brother gave him some good advice. And he said, I'm really afraid you guys are going to throw something away with too high of standards. It's real interesting hearing married people talk to single people, because sometimes the stuff that single people start complaining about, you're like, girl, get in line. That's part of marriage. People really do have a false perception of what marriage is. And married people come along and say it's part of marriage. Lindy's sister did it to her and said, get in line. I ain't got no advice from you. That's part of marriage. And the brother is telling it to Mitch as well and saying, the two of you, both Lindy, the two of you, or both of you, both Krysten and you, your expectation of each other being perfect in marriage is unrealistic. And the brother was really trying to get Mitch to come down for that. And he was trying to tell Mitch, I think you need to tell her that although she would love to have this big, I love you completely, maybe that's unrealistic in 8 weeks. And I'm actually proud of some of these people saying, I'm not going to just tell people I love you after 8 weeks when I don't love you. But it doesn't mean I don't continue in the relationship, in the marriage, and grow to that. But this hard and firm rule that both Krysten had and Stasha had about, if you don't tell me you love me by the end, at the decision day, I'm going to get a divorce. That was a stupid rule from the beginning. Stupid. And what that brother was trying to get Mitch to realize is, although you may not tell Krysten that you love her, everything that you're describing, how you care for her, concern for her, how you don't want to have her in your life, that you enjoy her life, that is love. A lot of people, they look at love as just a feeling, but love is both feeling and action. It is both. And a lot of times people, men too, don't want to say the words, I love you, because they're still missing a part of the love equation. But that doesn't mean you're not already in love. Love has many, many dimensions. Love has many, many faces. So you really don't say you're not in love. You say, I am in love, and there's other parts that our love can grow in. And that really should be what Mitch is saying, because Mitch is saying he doesn't love Lindy, but I think that he actually does. But Mitch is saying he doesn't love Krysten, but I actually think he does love Krysten. Are there areas in which his love need to grow? Absolutely. But I believe he already loves her. I really do believe that. And I believe that Krysten loves Mitch as well. And Mitch is saying, I know you would want a more firmer commitment. I know you would want me to, as Kristen says, a grand gesture, a big declaration, get down on one knee, fall out. And like she said, tell me I'm the most wonderful woman in the world and you can't live without me. I know Krysten wants the fairy tale. She wants the fairy tale that she's seen in the movies. And he says, I can't give you that. But what Mitch is giving Krysten is a whole lot. And in the end, Krysten says, I'll take it, because he was giving her a whole lot in order to move forward in the relationship. He was. But the problem is, in giving her a whole lot, I think he is losing a big part of himself. And I think that might be a problem later on, because I think every time Mitch wants to do something for himself, Krysten is going to look at it as rejection of her. And that requires anyone who is with Krysten is going to be required that they be completely 100% dedicated to her. And that might be a tall order for anyone, to be honest with you. Not just Mitch, not just independent Mitch, but it might be a problem with anyone. Because I know for me, if everything I did would get taken into the context of this means I don't love you, I would have a problem. If I want to go out with my friends, if I want to go surfing, if I want to, like I said, I sleep in the other room because I want to stretch out for the night, and you always take it in the context that it's about me not having certain feelings for you, that's a lot of work to have to keep explaining myself all the time. And I wouldn't want to be doubted like that all the time. But one thing that Mitch has said is correct is that Krysten has helped him become a better person. Let me tell you, of all the people who have grown a lot in this show, I want to tell you that I believe Mitch has done some of the most growth on this show. And I think it is attributed to Krysten. I think Krysten challenged him in ways that made him grow and made him look at himself in a completely different light. And I think it's going to do Mitch some good later on. Hopefully the good helps him in this marriage. Hopefully the good that he's learned helps him in this marriage. But I'm not for sure it's going to be enough. But I do know one thing, that if it doesn't help him in this marriage, it is going to help him in his next marriage, because I actually have seen growth in Mitch. And I think some of it he's going to retain no matter whether he stays with Krysten or whether or not they get a divorce. Krysten has done a very good job at forgiving Mitch of his so-called Mitchisms, and that gave him a chance to actually grow. She gave him second chances and third chances, and along the way, he grew a little bit each episode. And that is a testament to Krysten, because she gave him the room to do that. A lot of women would have cut Mitch off after the first or second mistake and not given him any more chances. That's the Morgans of the world. But what Krysten did actually allowed Mitch to grow. And so he is correct that a lot of his growth, he can attribute it towards Krysten. Is Mitch the right person for Krysten? To be honest with you, I look at Mitch and Krysten just like I looked at Alexis and Justin. When you look at them, you say they're not a good match. But the truth of the matter is they would actually challenge each other in the areas they need to be challenged. The one thing that Krysten needs to do is she needs to become more self-confident. She thinks she needs a guy who's going to constantly over-compliment her all the time. And actually, that's not what she needs, because that actually allows her to stay where she is. It doesn't make her develop some self-confidence and what she wants to use the man for as a crutch. So she doesn't have to develop self-confidence. She can just put all the work on the man to make her feel confident. And she doesn't grow that way. And what she really needs is she needs a man that does compliment her and supports her, but also that man has enough of his own identity so that she can also not always interpret when he is choosing himself sometimes to not look at it as a rejection of her. And Mitch is the type of person that he would choose himself sometimes. And Krysten would have to be strong enough not to always look at that as rejection. But I'm not for sure Krysten wants to do that work. I think Krysten wants the easier way out. And that is, I don't want a man to ever make me have to not feel rejected. I want a man that always makes me not feel rejected. And those are two different things. And that's the same thing I feel about Alexis. Alexis isn't interested in Justin. But the truth of the matter is, Alexis really does need a person like Justin, because Justin's undying love for her and commitment to her is really what Alexis kind of needed, because Alexis walks all over people and she can't be with another person who's going to draw boundaries on her, because one, she won't respect the boundaries. and they will fight and they will clash. So sometimes the people we want really aren't the best partners for us. Sometimes our partners challenge us in areas. But for Kristen and Mitch, I do kind of wish they could make it, but I really don't think that they will. I think they're going to say yes on decision day, but I think they're not going to make it much past decision day. So what do y'all think? 2 yeses, 2 nos, a yes and a no? And what do you think after decision day? Will they be together? So that's it, y'all. Tell me what you think. Please drop down in the comments and leave a comment. And please watch my other videos. Here are the links. Talk to you later. Bye.